Well, what we've got here today is the NAD CI940 power amplifier, and this retails, I think, normally for £799, and I got it for £105. It's new, brand new, and basically what I think happened was that this was for someone was doing some posh installation somewhere of a multi-room system, and decided they didn't need it. So this is it's kind of what you might call an installation amplifier. So it's not the sort of thing you tend to have in a standard, just ordinary stereo hi-fi system. You can use it for that, but there are some compromises which you have to make, which we shall go to later. So this was designed not really to be in a sort of a video unit or hi-fi rack. It was designed to be in a cupboard somewhere, and in fact it comes with rack handles to fit it into a big rack with presumably lots of other power amplifiers and things, and shut away in a cupboard and humming away quietly in the background. Well, it doesn't hum, it's quite quiet. Okay, so what have we got? Well, on the front it's got an on-off switch with LED indicator. It's got two big ventilation ports, and there's two LEDs there to show whether it's the channels are activated. If you look around the back, there's an on-off switch, two big, relatively big fans. And I was a bit worried about this, and the reason for the fans are, of course, it's meant to be in a rack in a cupboard with lots of other units stacked above it and below it, and so the idea is that you need an airflow through it. And I was a bit worried before it started that the fans would be going all the time and annoying me, but actually they haven't gone on once, and presume that's because it's not in a cupboard somewhere. You get 4 channels of amplification, and so which are marked as Zone 1 and Zone 2, and you have 2 RCA inputs in and 2 RCA inputs out for each channel. Down here you've got a trigger switch, and you can put in a 12 volts from a preamplifier or something else there to turn it on automatically, or it can come on out of standby using if it detects a signal, because the idea is meant to be on all the time. I found actually that's a bit hit and miss, and sometimes I've had to turn it on and nothing comes through, and then you turn this off and turn it on again and off and on, and eventually it kind of picks up the signal. But it sometimes takes 2 or 3 times to do it, and then sometimes I've had to switch, fiddle around a bit. So that was a bit difficult sometimes. Doesn't happen all the time, but just now and then. The other compromise you have to make is that it doesn't have your standard kind of multi-connector speaker ports. It has these, and I've always called these Phoenix connectors, but apparently their actual name are Euroblocks. And so what happens is you plug your speaker wires into here and pop that in there. And basically the reason they have this, and you often kind of get these in cars, and they're when you have to do wiring in tight places. So the idea is rack system, you having to fiddle around behind, and it's much easier to do. The problem with these, as you can see, is that they're quite small, and I think I read online they take a maximum of 12 AWG cable size, and certainly the standard cables, speaker cables I've been using, I couldn't fit into them. I mean, you can sort of cut down the ends, but still they're so close together you can't really get thick cables in. So that's another problem. I mean, you might not be someone who believes in cables make a difference, and I suppose I've using 2 meters of cable each side of these. Whether it makes a difference or not, I don't know. So there we are. It's a sturdy, well-made thing. Sound-wise, I really like it. It's not quite as warm as the other NAD amps I've got, but in fact it's got sort of a much cleaner sound. But it's certainly, you know, the power amp I had before was an Audio Lab, and that sounded a bit sterile compared to this. I think this has got a bit more of a warm, sort of organic nature. Now it's meant to be 35 watts per channel, but as usual with NAD, you know, I think that might be a bit of an underestimate. And you know, it can probably, you can certainly add a lot onto that. The other thing you can do is there are 4 channels of power output here, and so you can use it to bi-amp if you want, or there are bridging switches at the back. And what a bridging switch does is it kind of, you know, combines 2 of the amplifiers together to just about double the power. It's not quite exact. I'm not an electrician, but apparently kind of one of the amplifiers has to get inverted, and then it sort of forms some form of chain. I say that's kind of a lay explanation. But you do get double the power output. That doesn't actually incidentally mean that it sounds twice as loud, because I believe it's kind of more of a logarithmic scale. So you know, if you go from 35 watts to 70 watts, it might be an extra 10% loud, something like that. Okay, so there we go. Oh, by the way, the other thing I've noticed on eBay is there's a tendency for people to call things power amps to try and make, you know, a standard amp sound a bit more meaty and worthwhile. But this is a proper power amp, i.e. it doesn't have any kind of, you know, means of controlling the volume or switching between sources. So in order to use it properly, you need a preamplifier like the one I've just taken delivery of here. This is a NAD CI940. I've actually got a couple of NAD preamps, and I guess I'll be looking at some of those in the near future. So there we go. NAD CI940 power amplifier, 4 watts. Sorry, so 4 channels of 35 watts, good, clean power, and I really like it. It's definitely a keeper. Okay, so thanks for watching. In future, what I'm going to be doing I'm going to compare some Q acoustic speakers, as the 3020 to the 3010s, because they're quite cheap these days. Haven't been superseded. I'll look at some of these preamplifiers maybe at some point. Anyway, so if you're interested in that, subscribe. Otherwise, thanks for watching.